$600 stimulus check house prices will fall, and it is one of the hottest housing markets in over 25 years. We are going to discuss the signs that we are seeing its imminent cool down and cover stimulus check for $600 that are coming very soon. Stimulus checks and tax refund cannot come soon enough. Diesel and gas prices are soaring with bans on food exports. Drugs and global inflation enmity shows have been replaced by higher and higher food prices. Every time we go to the grocery store sales, the price of new meat, eggs, and cooking oils are hitting record highs. It seems like the middle class just cannot catch a break. We all have, and you certainly couldn't wreck your car and then look for insurance. Of course, not right heating and air conditioning system fall unexpectedly and cost thousands of dollars to repair. And how about upstairs toilet? What about the water heater or supply leaky roof? Do you know Zillow? It's a tech real estate marketplace company here in our country, and they have conducted a study of homeowners who purchased homes within the last 2 years. In this study, they concluded that 75% of them had some form of buyer's remorse. 75%. There are a couple of reasons as to why this red-hot housing market is due for cold water, starting with the value of housing. A huge chunk of the housing market is overvalued, which means that down the line, you run the risk of price drops. Just how many houses are we talking about here? How about 65% in 392 major metropolitan areas here in the United States across the country? That's determine the percentage of houses that were overvalued. 26% of house were under normal valuations and 9% were undervalued. Moody's analysts conducted a similar survey, and they found that 96% of regional housing markets were overvalued. That's almost a perfect score in a bad way. Next, the growth in median home prices had outpaced median income by a lot. Since the year 2000, prices have spiked by 159% over a 21-year period. Has your rate increased by 159% since the year 2000? The median home price increased by 14.5% per year, or the increase in median home or median income in the same time frame. It's only been 4%, and so now the supply and demand imbalance is struggling. There are countless people who don't want to miss out on the housing market. But the market is changing right before our very eyes. Demand will go down as more and more people will be priced out of the market. And as mortgage rates continue to increase, mortgage payments are increasing, so the supply has now gradually gone up since March. If it continues to go up while demand continues to go down, that's going to trigger price declines. There is a range in the machinery, which is the supply chain, ranging anywhere from workers to concrete finding material to build houses, and homes are getting tougher and tougher. Executive Director for Tennessee Concrete Association, Alan Sportman, he said this is a big issue for the concrete industry and heavy hauling industries. What happened to the cost of diesel fuel that has caused prices to escalate for concrete? This has also led to some builders going out of business. Just recently in Columbia County, Pennsylvania, the state general office is now looking to the abrupt closure of recent home builders. One woman got the shortest end of the stick, and she has no home built at all. Karen Morgan, who was supposed to live her golden years on a farmland that's been in her family for generations, where their husband Bob, who was a veteran who served and were injured in the Vietnam War. Karen discussed the importance of this particular property and how they were looking forward to a house that could be accessible for Bob. The couple gave Vision Home Builders $53,000 as a deposit in cash last April 13, is now made and according to Carol Code, or we got for our money was a copy of the contract and some drawing a week and a whole later. He let everybody off, and April 30. They closed the door and called Jess Mary, owner of Vision Home Builders, blamed the pandemic for the company's closure code. He said it's been a struggle from scheduling materials and financial situation for everybody. It's really interesting how popular these are becoming now, especially with the amount of risk that you have to factor in when you apply for these in 2008. This is the highest level of arms in the market at 10.8%, more than the triple 3.1% at the beginning of 2022. Now, all of this is happening in the housing market. The fact they are in the battle with inflation, they really don't have much of choice but raise rates, and with the follows mortgage rates. And if you think mortgage rates could not go up to 10%, you might be in for a world of hurt, especially if you apply for an ARM. Now with rates rising, demand will continue to go down more and more. Why? People will not have enough money to buy the available houses, which again will lead to the prices of houses falling. Do we see houses that lie 50% of maybe the one thing? That's certain at the point is that the coming shakeup in the house market will certainly create a ripple effects in the economy, and it won't be pretty. So, lawmakers in Virginia are debating how much their exact budgets that they plan on returning to residents in the state. The General Assembly is expected to approve a one-time rebate or similar checks to eligible state income tax filers. Now, this stems from a campaign promised by Governor Glenn Youngkin and has already won bipartisan support from previous Governor Ralph Northam, who promised his own version of the plan through a very similar price tag. According to Governor Youngkin, quote, "We want to have the latest tax rebate in the history of Virginia. All of the tax cuts are designed to help Virginians who need it the most to get our cost of living down, to enable Virginia to compete with the states around us are lowering their tax burdens while we sit here and have lunch and cold delivery." Robinson is carrying the bill supported by Youngkin, and it would pay individuals up to $300 and married couples up to $600. This proposal by Northam is pretty much more reserved, as it plans to give out $250 maximum for individuals and $500 in stimulus check to married couples. Senator Mitch Hanger, a lead Republican budget negotiator who sponsored the Senate's version of the bill. So, the discussions will come down to the balancing of tax reform and new spending. According to Hanger quote, "I would support an even larger amount if we leave some of the tax reform on the table. I would prefer that we give money back to the taxpayers. At the same time, we are addressing our pressing needs on the spending side rather than obligating ourselves out into the future where there's an uncertain revenue flow," and quote. It is eligible for the repays. Residents are required to file their 2021 tax returns or income tax return or on before November 1st of 2022. And we are eager to see as two-way option that they're actually going to provide for the residents and their constituents. The Federal Reserve has had the task to try and figure out how to cool down the red-hot inflation that we've been having. Now, the problem is like walking on eggshells. With closed shoes on the floor is slippery. Inflation is supposedly at 8.3%. We say supposedly because it sounds like it's not even remotely close to the truth. William Luther, an economist at the American Institute for Economic Research, he had this to say about the issue, quote, "Fed officials must not become complacent. They felt the Fed should continue raising its policy rate until the price level returns to its pre-pandemic trajectory," unquote. Now, if there was any time to rethink your investment about crypto today, maybe one of those days. Now we have been talking about crisis a lot and crypto pretty much set that hashtag crypto crash trended worldwide and for all the wrong reasons. Well, I guess it was for the right reasons because crypto did crash, but it was such a bad time for investors. About $1 trillion worth of value was wiped clean, and we are hoping that the bounce back for some of them go well, except for those who are now worthless. Luna is practically worth nothing at this point. KSI, a particular popular content creator, lost almost 2.8 million euros or roughly $3.8 million. That is a huge loss. But that's not all of his money. Imagine the investor that put in their life saving. Not that anybody should be doing that, but some people don't necessarily have the same experience in investing as others. But what's happening seems to be a very coordinated attack. And look at what the company said on Twitter poll. The Terra blockchain has officially hoarded a block 7607789 Terras have hoarded the network to come up with a plan to reconstitute it. More updates to come, end quote.